What's up? Welcome back to my channel, or for the first time if you're new, I'm Sylvan, and today I'm going to be reacting to Fruits Basket episode 12. This is almost certainly the end of the core. It could be episode 13, but we shall see nonetheless. Either way, if it is, we should be expecting something bigger to happen. I've had some hints from comments and just seeing things around that we might have something along those lines. So feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video, leave a comment on your thoughts, and let's get into this. Alright, spring. Jumping to the new term. Yeah, second years now, and there's some new first years we know. Ah, okay. Hence the mask. What? Okay. Alright. Oh, almost certainly. Of course, Yuki comes in to be the helpful one. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh? Who might that be? Oh? Is Akito here? What is he doing at school? Ooh, okay. Nice, okay. What the fuck is gonna happen here? What does Akito have planned? Presumably Toru won't be able to avoid him this time. Not that she even was trying to before, but nonetheless. They've been passing by each other a little bit. Yeah, I have a feeling we probably will get a new intro. Just because looking at this, all the characters here we've met at this point, I believe. I don't think there's anyone in this opening that we haven't met. And we still have at least a few more members of the Zodiac to meet. So I wouldn't be surprised if next episode is new opening and it shows off some of the other characters we are to meet. I'm very curious what the opening will be, though, because though I am not constantly coming back to more mellow openings when I just, like, am picking my favorites, this one is really solid. The ending is so good. Still just looking out the door. Ah. Yep. Of course. Of course. You're a rather suspicious fellow. Oh my god. Yep. Yeah. What? What? Oh my god. Oh, the protectiveness. There it is, the compromise. Can't say no to Toru. She holds control over you. Yes, yes it is. Okay. Oh? Oh, wow. Okay. That expression. Kyo! Oh my god! And she has no idea. Oh my god, okay. Oh. Oh. I'll protect you. Immediately spaces out. She didn't even think of it that way. Yeah. Hi, Momoji. What? Yo? Yeah, there's no problem with it. What? Haru, what are you doing? Good. Fair. Give it up, Kyo. It's fine. Oh? Okay. We did hear that there was something dubious about him. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god, there it does defy common sense. Yeah. Oh, the ears. Yeah, just let him wear what he wants. Oh? Oh no. Oh no, Dark Horror's out. Murder? God. Oh my god. He just goes so extreme. That is not at all what happened? Uh, oh my god. Oh. Whatever he's most comfortable in. Oh my god. Yeah, yeah. Whatever you feel best in. How is it unfair to students? There it is. Something tells me it's not rhetorical to him. What the fuck is going on? Oh boy. How do you prove a natural hair color? Well, what is he gonna do? Oh, oh no. What the fuck? Why? Jesus Christ. Oh no, Toru, your pure innocent mind. No! No! Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh, I just realized she's wearing the hair tie. She's wearing the tie that Yuki got for her. That's nice. Or forgot that was the main reason that they came over. Oh? Something serious. Probably about Akito? Yeah, yeah, fair. Oh. Now is not the time to send her away. Oh, it's interesting seeing Akito not in their usual outfit. They look very different. Oh, oh, okay. Mmm. Yeah, that's fair. Huh. Yeah. Yes, that I imagine is where a lot of her fear comes from. Uh-huh. I don't trust you. Yuki, what are you gonna do now? You don't want to see Akito, but are you gonna step in to protect Toru? Don't let that fool you. But to what end? Hmm. The real fear in his voice there. Uh, I feel uncomfortable. Ah. Oh no. Re-educate. Oh, Jesus. Oh, wow. Toru actually stepped in. Thank God. Getting a glimpse of what Akito truly is like. Mask is back on immediately. Jesus Christ. I don't think that interaction helps him want to go back at all. Kyo was watching. Okay. Ooh, that's that anger. Hmm. You wanted to protect Yuki. You could tell that he was in danger. Yes. No matter how kind they may appear. At least that much is true. Jesus. Even after that interaction, Yuki's first instinct was to ask Toru if she really was okay. Toru's doing what she does best. Make people happy. Yeah. Get rid of that fear. I really love this theme. This track is just really solid. Sure, okay. Of course Haru is into that. Yeah. Oh? Oh. The real thoughts. You obviously don't see the value that Toru has. Okay. Believing that the fear will overpower the love. It was that long? He was there for that long? Jesus Christ. Yeah. One believes in fear overpowering love, the rest believe in love overpowering fear. Hmm. Worthwhile things to wish for. Oh, God. Looking to Toru when thinking that. God damn it. Yeah. Yeah, they are. There's not just that dark room. There's not just Akito. Yeah? Of course, the two of them are the most exhausted. Aw. Of course Haru would be worrying about that. Yeah. Yeah. That's one way of putting it. At the very least knows about it. I think that's the right feeling, but don't let it control you. Yeah. Hell yeah. That fear that you instilled, Akito, is not enough. This is truly a very impressive episode. Realistically, it can be split into two parts, I feel. One part is the majority of the episode, which is essentially just re-establishing the status quo now that Haru and Momiji are at school. It also introduces us to the student council president and just sort of establishes everything to expect going forward with these characters. But then the other part of the episode is once Akito appears. Any moment that Akito is the focus, or is mentioned even, the entire tone shifts. But before we get into the heavier side of things, I'd like to touch on the lighter side, which is the rest of the episode. Looking at Momiji and Haru in this episode, we, as I said, are getting established what they are like in a school environment, talking and interacting with people beyond just the family. For Momiji, they themselves are fairly passive in this episode. Their main purpose in this episode exists to ignite the debate and conversations and interactions between all of the characters in one of the main scenes. Because they decided to wear a girl's uniform instead of a boy's because it looks better on them, which inevitably everyone has different reactions to. Kyo, initially very in line with himself, is very against it, thinks it makes him look dumb and that it's embarrassing, all kinds of things that we've seen him scold Momiji about before. Kyo, weirdly enough, seems to sort of become the older brother parent figure to Momiji, who is constantly scolding them for things they're doing when Momiji is around, which I find interesting. It's fun. But ultimately, this is the focus of this scene, the debate of whether or not it's fine for Momiji to dress like that, which in my mind, sure, it's fine. I'm not a fan of dress codes, and personally, I think people can just wear what they want, whatever makes them feel most comfortable. And it seems that that is ultimately the decision that is landed on. Due to Haru doing some good convincing of the main detractors saying that it isn't a good idea and shouldn't be allowed to happen, being the student council president and their two goons. But I do find it interesting that Haru is the one to convince them. Haru, of course, in his light mode is just very passive, not energetic, muted in a lot of ways. But even then we can see very cutely certain emotions do still find their way to the surface, even if they are muted still. The way that he approaches and sort of lightly holds on to Yuki is so incredibly cute. He still has this very blank, muted expression when he does it, and there's not a lot of energy when he's doing it, but he does arms out, approach Yuki and grab onto him a little bit. It's so fucking cute, and there's no like words spoken about it really, it just sort of happens, and I love that. But then we get introduced to Makoto Take, the student council president. Even before we actually properly meet him, we have implications that he is not the most well-liked. At the very least, Uo thinks they have some issues. But from their first actual impression, we can very clearly get a sense of the kind of person they are. They're someone who uses logic, common sense, and the idea of properness to get unnecessarily angry at people. The exact kind of person who would be drawn to leadership positions but not be good at it. When things don't fit into their quote-unquote correct slots, they get angry. Their immediate introduction is saying that Kyo is right to be angry at Momiji, that it's improper, it's reckless, it's just bad in general, that Momiji is dressed as a girl, and then immediately pivots to pointing out how outrageous the hair colors of Kyo and Haru are, despite the fact that we know they are just their natural hair colors. Which does lead to a very funny interaction, which outright emphasizes the fact that, yeah, these hair colors don't make sense. How is it his natural hair color when it's white and black? Where obviously we know that the reason is because they are tied to the zodiac and stuff, they're the cow. It's outright stated here by Toru, essentially, that the reason for the black-white hair color is because they are the ox. But it's also just very funny in a meta context, given that so often characters in anime will have just random weird hairstyles and everyone will act like it's their normal hair, which I just find funny. But it's in this interaction with the student council president that we can see a little bit more of Momiji. We basically never have had anyone actually questioning Momiji in a way that is all that serious. Kyo will often scold him, but very rarely is someone actually opposing something Momiji does seriously. So we can see how he acts and reacts to that. Momoji's reaction to being told, "Have you no male pride? Why are you dressed like a girl?" Momoji's response is to retort, saying, "But this uniform looks better on me." But it's not a full confident retort, it's much more of an emotional, downtrodden, saddened retort. They aren't just rolling over for this person and their opinions. They still hold their own opinions and will stand by them, but they are easily emotionally swayed by other people. But then it is at this point where we get to see the other side of Haru once more. Where before we only saw Dark Haru interacting with the Somas and Toru, we now see how Dark Haru interacts with other people as well. People he does not have a pre-established relationship with. And it is, to be expected, aggressively. He immediately and directly calls out the student council president on all of his bullshit, saying things like, "Who do you think you are, God? You're talking all about common sense and properness and what is correct. Who decided that?" And interestingly enough, Kyo tries to sort of rein him back, but of course Dark Haru is difficult to control. He just snaps back at Kyo, "You're the one who ran from our fight, don't say anything," despite the fact that Kyo did not run. Dark Haru is simultaneously a person who does not put up with anyone's bullshit, but also does not really live in reality. They are this manic, aggressive figure. But interestingly enough, as I mentioned before, Dark Haru is actually the person to convince the trio of student council members to actually let Momiji continue to dress as they do. To the two girls, it is simply saying, "Hey, it's fine, he'll grow out of it eventually. What's wrong with letting him do what he wants right now? Don't you think he'll get real hot later?" Which leads the girls to just imagine what Momiji will look like in a few years, being this real, just attractive guy, and that breaks them down. And then to break down the student council president, interestingly enough, it seems like the kryptonite of everyone in this school and world, really, which is Yuki. Would you allow Yuki to wear a girl's uniform? Do you have any issues with that? And this is enough to make this person who claims that properness and common sense are the most important things to suddenly be like, "Oh, that's fine, that's okay, maybe we can let this slide." All it takes is an attractive guy that is a bit more feminine to be imagined in a girl's uniform to just destroy this guy's argument for some reason, which is of course just always funny. It's the classic gimmick joke of Yuki, and I love that Haru uses it to his advantage. But then there's really only one other thing truly to touch on, I feel, before we get into the more serious stuff, which is Kyo's moment with Toru. When going to find Momiji and Haru, Kyo notices some guys that are preparing to hit on Toru because she seems cute and like an airhead. Therefore, she'll be less of a hassle and easier to get with, is sort of the vibe given off. And so Kyo's response to this, his reaction, is to stake his claim, essentially. That is essentially what he's doing. Though it seems his main intention was purely protection, but also what he's essentially doing, other than just saying, hey, you gotta get through me to get to her, is, hey, this girl's off limits. People like you aren't allowed to date her. Which, once again, I don't think he is necessarily intentionally trying to express that he is the only person who could be in a relationship with Toru, but there is a bit of that there. But once they're gone, he scolds Toru a little bit, saying you can't just be that non-perceptive, that airheaded when you're alone. You have to be a little bit more careful. If you're just out in the middle of nowhere that oblivious, you might get kidnapped or something. A legitimate concern for her. He is trying to protect her legitimately. But then he pulls back a little bit, saying, but you don't have to be that careful when I'm here. I can protect you. When I'm with you, you can be as airheaded as you want. Which of course Toru just takes at face value, doesn't worry, she just immediately goes to her passive oblivious state again. But then Kyo realizes, hey, wait a minute, I'm sort of making it sound like we're sort of connected at the hip. We are some kind of item, even if it's not specifically romantic. And so he tacks on, I didn't mean that in a weird way though, which only causes himself more anguish because Toru never processed that there was anything weird about his statement. And it leads him to question, why am I so nervous? What is wrong with me? I think we know what's wrong with him. He cares about Toru in more ways than one. That's all that it is. He may not be able to consciously recognize it in himself, but he cares about Toru so much. Realistically, there are a few things that Kyo would not do for Toru at this point. We see in the beginning of the episode that other people are picking up on it as well. Hana and Uo outright call out he's getting worse and worse at saying no to her. The only times that Kyo would not do what Toru wants is if he legitimately believes that what she wants is actually detrimental to her, which is real cute. It's just a continuation of their relationship. It's real fun. I love it a lot. But now we gotta get to the more serious stuff. Starting with Toru. Toru is a person, we know at this point, who does not actually get legitimately afraid or nervous easily. She'll be anxious and worried about people often, wanting to make sure that everyone is taken care of, but very, very rarely does she get legitimately afraid or upset. Part of that, I think, has to do with her instilled trauma responses of trying to always seem like she's okay, she can handle whatever is going on, that kind of thing. But part of it also is just her personality, I imagine. Her meeting Akito is one of the first times that she seems legitimately nervous and afraid. The only other times we have truly seen this, as far as I can remember, is when she gets a glimpse of Akito. Akito is this dangerous, terrifying force that even the airheaded, carefree Toru can recognize. She may not have the social intelligence or wherewithal to be able to see through Akito's mask, which leads to their personal interaction being fairly lighthearted on a surface level, with Akito complimenting Toru and her awkwardly accepting the compliments, that kind of thing. Even then, she can recognize the tension in the air. She can recognize that there is something to be on edge about around this person. No matter how much they smile, no matter how much they flatter, this person is dangerous. And it leads later to a momentous moment, actually, in my mind, which is Toru as a person never wants to rock the boat, never wants to make people upset, never wants to do anything that would in any way cause problems for others. She shoves Akito here. It may be gentle, it may not be that forceful, but she decides, I am going to stop Akito from doing what he is doing. I am going to physically push him, and I am going to tell him this conversation is over. She does it in the most gentle and kind way possible, but she does that. This shows us that Toru's care and wish to please everyone is not infinite. When faced with someone causing distress to someone she cares about, she will choose to protect the person she cares about over causing discomfort for that other person. Which is hard to say if it is legitimately a character development moment or just that we haven't seen her in this situation before, because very well she might have always been able to make this decision and it's not a difference of just the development of the show, but at the very least her care for Yuki is what causes her to do this. And even further, we can see her care for Yuki and just in general people with how once Akito is gone, she immediately consciously is thinking, how can I erase this fear from Yuki's heart? How can I remove the terror that Akito has instilled in him? We had in a previous episode Toru saying to herself, I want to, if at all possible, erase all of the scars from both Yuki and Kyo. I want to clean their hearts of all trauma and pain, if I can. And now she has been faced with the perpetrator of so much of that trauma. And so I suppose we'll have to see how she continues to act around Akito in future interactions, if ever they occur. But then the person who I think truly is the focus of this episode, or at least of this portion, is Yuki. There's a lot of things that Yuki does, and a lot of things we learn about Yuki and Akito that are very telling. First off, we have the fact that Momiji and Haru send Toru away so that they can talk with Kyo and Yuki about the fact that Akito is here, because they know that they will not want to meet. The last thing Yuki wants is to meet again with Akito, because he knows what Akito will do and say. But despite this, despite probably one of the most motivating forces in his mind being stay the hell away from Akito, without any hesitation, when Yuki sees Akito and Toru talking, his first instinct is, I need to make sure Akito does nothing to harm Toru. I need to make sure she is okay. I do not care what happens to me, she must be okay. Which, as far as we know, might have worked. We don't know if Akito intended to do anything else other than just scout out who Toru is as a person. So as far as we know, Yuki did save Toru here. But even if that isn't the case, it is fair for Yuki to believe that Akito would do something given his entire past with Akito, which we get a glimpse of here. In front of Akito, Yuki is powerless. This hyper-competent and talented person we know who can handle almost any scenario, the one who cleans up any dangerous moments where someone might discover the secret effortlessly and with ease, is powerless in front of Akito. He is frozen solid in terror as Akito closes the distance and touches his cheek and says, "Where were you at New Year's? It's upsetting for you not to come to see me. Do I need to re-educate you? Do I need to put you back into the torture that you were in? I'm being lenient. I've let you have this school life, live away from the main household. Let Toru keep her memories. I have done so much for you, and the way you repay me is by avoiding me." It is textbook abusive, manipulative behavior, and they are explicitly using the fear of what they have already done to Yuki to instill more fear and subservience going forward. This moment, more than anything, is Akito attempting to remind Yuki, I control you, you are mine. At any moment, I could tear all of this away from you and put you back in that box. And we get flashes of what that looked like. It appears that Akito, for much of Yuki's childhood, had Yuki locked in a dark room where he would torture him constantly, mentally and emotionally, predominantly, I would assume. We only get flashes of it, so the exact nature of everything is unclear, but all we can tell is that it seems Yuki was in there for a long time. From other pieces of backstory we've gotten, it's fair to say that early enough in Yuki's childhood, he was able to roam the premises of the household and speak to other people to a degree, but after a certain point, he was placed in here. Perhaps it was after Yuki began to have passions of his own. Perhaps Akito feared that if left to have their own passions and develop as a person, Yuki would begin to stray away from them and escape their control. So for years, it would seem, Yuki was stuck in his special room, locked away, tortured, until finally one day Yuki was able to speak to Shigure, of all people, and beg, get me out of here. Please, I need to get out. Which I suppose is the origin of the current living situation. We already knew that Shigure was opposed to Akito. Maybe Yuki understands some amount of that, and that's why he went to Shigure? Or maybe it was just a desperate plea to fucking anybody. But either way, it seems like perhaps before high school, Yuki was truly trapped, sealed away in a box. A special prize locked away by Akito. A trophy on a pedestal, which truly goes to prove everything that we've already had implied. Multiple people have said, he's doing a lot better now. Yuki is so much happier now that he's not directly under the thumb of Akito. But now we get a glimpse of truly what that means. No wonder Yuki is terrified. And Akito fully understands this. It's why he is here to say the things he does to Yuki. Akito is leveraging all of the fear and terror he has instilled to enact his control on those around him, the members of his family. He did it to Hattori, he's doing it to Yuki, and he's not gonna stop. Until Yuki has given up all hope, Akito will not stop trying to break him. But that is something that we pretty much could assume already about Akito. Beyond this, we get even more of a glimpse into Akito as a person. They are someone who can immediately put the mask back on, seem polite and kind as soon as they need to be. They are a manipulator. They can hide their own emotions very well. As soon as he sees that the current social situation is not in his favor, he pulls back. He does not retract any of his threats, but he allows them to escape. He allows Toru and Yuki to leave this time. As to him, Yuki is already still in his grasp. He has never truly escaped. He has made an assessment of Toru and believes that he is in control still. When he first speaks to Toru, he is nothing but flattery and smiles, saying how cute and kind she is. But then that is retorted by Shigure later in the episode when talking with Hattori, the other side of the coin. Remarkably, Shigure is someone that Akito lets the mask slip with, despite the fact that, to Shigure at least, they are opposite players opposed to one another in a game of manipulation and trickery. Whether it is because Akito is oblivious to this fact, or is just so confident that they are on the winning side that they will not be defeated by Shigure's opposing schemes, regardless of what it is, they are willingly letting their mask slip in front of him. In front of Toru, they were all smiles and flattery, as I said. In front of Shigure, they say, she is an idiot, she is ugly, she is nothing. There is no way that she poses any threat to me or my plans. Akito has met with and assessed Toru and found her lacking, but that seems to be from a fundamental misunderstanding of what Toru is capable of and why she's capable of it. As I said in the reaction itself, this is now much more explicitly a battle to determine what wins between fear and love, what overpowers the other. Akito believes that no matter what Toru does, or how close she gets to Yuki and Kyo and the rest of the family, nothing she does will ever strip the power and terror that Akito has over his family, where it's someone like Shigure who believes the opposite. Shigure believes that love will overpower all, that Toru's influence to make people love her will be the thing that breaks the current structure of things. To Shigure, Toru and the love that she instills in others for her and the love she gives to others is his best opportunity to achieve his goals. And though he claims to be neutral, it seems Hattori agrees with Shigure on this front, having more properly met and interacted with Toru himself. Hattori, despite being a perfect case of what it looks like when Akito has successfully broken down and taken control of a person, someone who isn't considering escaping from that control or allowing themselves to be happy. Hattori agrees with Shigure. Toru is powerful. Toru has a strong influence on others that cannot be denied. And he states Akito does not seem to understand this. When even the person who in adulthood exists as the example of what Akito is capable of how well he can take control of a person, when that person says Akito doesn't understand how powerful the influence of Toru is, that means that Akito has a problem. Akito is wrong in this case. Akito may be the person in the more powerful position, between him and Toru, but with Shigure being the game master who moves the pieces around, uses Toru's power to achieve victory against Akito, until he wisens up, Akito is losing this battle. He will have to up his game, become more active, more aggressive, more controlling if he'll ever want his fear and control to win over Toru's love, which is scary. It is very scary. Things inevitably will escalate before they become better. But at the very least for now, it seems that Akito has fooled himself, allowed himself to believe that he still holds all the cards, but things are moving faster than he realizes. Even if Yuki has not truly escaped his grasp yet, Toru is consciously and actively doing all she can to break that tie. And we can see from even just the end of this episode that it's working. Yuki was frozen in fear, terrified, unwilling to fight against Akito in any way. But thanks to Toru, he was able to get out of that scenario fine, and though that fear controlled him in the moment, as soon as Akito was gone, and as soon as he started having fun with his friends again, it was swept away. He was able to smile, return home happy. Toru's already winning that battle. Though, as Shigure says, the kind of trauma that Yuki has experienced is the kind of thing that is essentially impossible to truly ever forget. That doesn't mean that it will forever control him. It doesn't mean that in his daily life, he cannot move past it. It takes help. It takes others. But he has Toru. He has Toru to help him. And he also has Shigure and Kyo, Hana and Uo, and absolutely Hara, and to an extent Momiji. Though some of them may not have the active intent of specifically helping Yuki, that is what all of them are doing right now. Many of these characters may not understand what he's going through, or have their own ulterior motives. Or in the case of Kyo, it being entirely tangential because Kyo does not want to get to know Yuki better, does not want to become his friend. But they're all helping him. They all are. And I love that. I love the note that this episode ends on. It let us see a glimpse into the true terror that Akito instills, but it proves to us at the end that this is a story about escaping trauma, not about trauma controlling us. And I love that. But with that, I think I've touched on just about everything I want to. So feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video, leave a comment on your thoughts, and I hope you all have a great day. Goodbye.